Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues. On the 1st of March this year, the DDT College of Medicine held their first ever white coat ceremony. A solemn yet touching occasion in which students vowed before God to, among other things, consecrate their lives towards the service of humanity. For their colleagues to be their sisters and brothers, to not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between their duty to their patients, and to not use their medical knowledge to violate human rights, even under threat. At the end of the morning's program, while the organizers packed up, students were still in high congratulatory spirits. And we took the chance to speak to the different stakeholders that had convened at Boipuso Hall to find out what the significance of the white coat ceremony truly is.
You know, the significance of the white coat ceremony is actually to introduce our students into the health profession. This is the right passageway whereby now they'll be joining the health profession and taking the oath to say, I will do no harm to my patients.
So the white coat ceremony is a way that medical professionals can express to the community the level of commitment they have to taking care of the sick in their community, to, before everyone, express what it is that they believe and what it is that they're committing to keep the health and secrets of the people that they treat just in that protected way.
I would say this is the it moment because this is a way of showing who we are at DDT College of Medicine and who we want to be years from now. It is showing our vision, where we are beginning and where we are going.
It's the beginning of paving my way to my future destiny. Yeah, I'm definitely sure that indeed I'm going to be a medical practitioner.
It's the starting point of my career pathway. So I feel so great. It's so nice that I have started something that I've always dreamed of, something that I've wanted to achieve in a lot of years.
This is a very significant event for DDT College of Medicine in that it's the first one to be hosted by the school. We are only a year old, and not only a year old, it's the first time that a medical school in Botswana has hosted a white coat ceremony.
Welcome back to First Issues as we look at the vision of the relatively new DDT College of Medicine, who say they have found a niche in Botswana's health sector. Joining us now is the school's Chancellor, Dr. Tloiwe, who expands upon the gaps they identified within the sector, as well as their efforts to fill them.
This project started over 3 years ago. In order to apply and be licensed as a college, you go through the rigor of registering with HRDC and Botswana Qualifications Authority. Being a medical doctor, and my wife as well, being a medical doctor, we have been co-thinkers of this. We had to do a whole lot, the needs assessment in Botswana, whether there was an actual market for this. And we looked through the documents. I think when you go through almost all the ADPs, I think have been crying the song of needing medical professionals. The latest one that when we came now was the one in place. It was coming from NDP 10, the National Development Plan 10, of which then emanated the National Strategy on Human Resource Development. And also, of course, set up the HRDC as well, I mean that act. Was still putting medical professionals as one of the core needs of the country. If you are aware of this history, even with medical professionals, when they were being sponsored, even when the government changed now to loaning its students to go and study, health professions were left as grants in order to encourage the bright students who are capable to be able to develop an interest in this and go there. So we went through the rigor. We had a lot of mentoring, a lot of support from Minister of Education, from Minister of Health, and the Botswana Health Professions Council. All of these stakeholders had to be brought on board, and they told us of what the needs are, what their most pressing needs in terms of health, human resource for health professionals was. And that managed to see the light of the day, that after 3 years of going forth, back and forth, to make the application, I think we could have got a thesis for that. It was a very thick document. We also had even help from other professionals, some even more knowledgeable than us, professors. We had assistance with a professor at Yale. He used to be here in Botswana with CDC, Dr. Shepard, and also another one, I think now she's the public health specialist for the Atlanta region. She used to be here as well. She's called Dr. Kathleen Toomey. These were instrumental, being United States professionals, medical professionals and teachers and lecturers, to direct us on quality assurance, on how to do things in quite a high-level way, that we should match the best in the world. Despite being a middle-income country, the aim is still that with our graduates should be able to have those who match the best in the world. And so we managed to have that quality assurance, that assistance, and eventually got the license.
As a practicing medical professional who recognized a niche in the field and, as you said, aim to match the best in the world, what would you say of the product you have at present? How does it compare to what is currently being offered locally? And yes.
You should realize we started with our first trimester. We are using a trimester system. Last year, in August 2015, that's when we had our charter class of these 4 programs. Now, we are leaning more towards the US type of system. I know that, traditionally Botswana, we've generally been on the UK type of system as well, of which it has been serving us well. But we tended to lean on that. That's where we studied, and that's where the trend seems to be going. We got advised, in order to have an excellent graduate pool, an excellent school that matches the best in the world, you need to have the best students. You need to have also the best lecturers. From the onset, that has been our aim. In recruiting our students, we get them from A-levels. We get them as well from Form 5, which then we will have maybe to up them with the basic sciences, chemistry, A-level chemistry, biology, in order for them now to be ushered nicely into the medical sciences, biochemistry, physiology, anatomy. So we only take 40 points and above, because we started only with bachelor's programs, bachelor's degrees, of which each takes 4 years. Duration. We are still, of course, on the learning process to see how they are coping, but with how we have set up the system to be very strategic, very closely monitoring of the students' performances and their problems, we are able to pick up problems early. We've got a Department of Educational Services. This is the support department for the academic and even the social life of the students, because a student may have a problem that is not non-academic, but it will affect the academic part of their performance here. So in general, we've got exams that come almost every month. We've got a quiz that they will write. Then after 4 weeks, they write a midterm exam. Then they will write in another month another quiz, and then they will be in the final. So our students are really busy. They have to keep up with the material, which is quite a lot. As medical professionals, we have to take the best. We have to give them all the information, such that we do not have a scenario. You know as well as myself, you do not want, when you are in a sick bed, and to have your caretaker, your medical professional, running to the books, checking on you, running to the books, checking on you. So we take 40 points and above, of which we will keep to that. We believe that we will continue to get the pool of those very bright students who are able as well to accommodate the amount of information that we give them and be able to be competent clinicians. The system, how we have put it, like I say, we are leaning more on the American system. We tend to bombard them with a lot of information in the first 2 or 3 years that they will be here. Then, from then they will move to the hospitals, where now they would be practicing their clinical competencies, such that at the end, when the student graduates, they would have had a lot of theory, a lot of practice, and then at the end, they are going to have exams that include the clinical exam, plus also the theory that they've learned done in the first 1, 2, or 3 years. So we avoid a situation where during the last years they are still running to lectures, they are running to classes, because it has been seen by the time they do their internship, which is their first year post-graduation, once they have been in the hospital, they assimilate more. They are really at a good level by the time they do that.
Having already mentioned the brain drain that can result from educating our medical professionals overseas and how this exacerbates the continuing shortage of said professionals locally, Dr. Tloiwe gives further details on the costs incurred and the solutions presented by institutions such as theirs.
We saw at least 4 gaps. Gaps can be opportunities, some are challenges. I've spoken of the lack of health professionals before. But there is also now the cost, the high cost of training medical professionals. We know it has been estimated that one student of physiotherapy or pharmacy or lab science or doctor assistants can take maybe, when they are trained outside, can actually take the cost of 5 to 10 students here. So you find that by training them locally, we will be saving the government a lot of money, which of course Minister of Education was very happy for when we brought in now that this is what we intend to do. Obviously this is a niche that has not been maybe taken advantage of. It is a big gap, of which now, for example, we've got about 30 or so students in each of these cadres. It has never happened that any year Botswana would send maybe 30 pharmacy students outside. It has not been possible. But now with training them locally, which now they would be defraying the costs of maybe medical aid, the accommodations, the whole lot of costs of somebody staying outside. That's what DDT College of Medicine is actually doing in assisting the country to develop education. Now, the other thing has been that there has been now an increase in the number of diseases. The rise in communicable and non-communicable diseases. I'll just give you a few examples. We are having problems of lifestyle. We are able to see a rise in cases of childhood diabetes. Now, this was an enigma that a child should have diabetes. So, but even in the elderly, the obesity and diabetes and hypertension and cancers have all been rising. What does that mean? It increases the workload for the health worker out there. Because of that, now, even though the government has done a lot, the government of Botswana has tried, has built hospitals, has built clinics, has even updated the usually called health posts. There are now updated clinics that most of them are able to even operate 24 hours. The big problem has been to get in the staff who would man these high-level facilities. So that is where DDT College of Medicine intends or is intending to help. Our graduates, or actually our students, impact will start to be felt when they go to the clinical rotations, which is about in the 2 years for some and others in 3 years. So they'll already be now helping the grandmother out there, their mothers, their relatives out there with this high-level quality of clinical knowledge.
DDT College of Medicine's innovations apparently do not only encompass the development of human capital, but the promotion of indigenous knowledge and resources as well, in the form of medical research.
Medical research is very infantile, almost non-existent, but it is very low. You'll find that at local level, very little medical research is done. There is research, of course, but the perspective of DDT College of Medicine is to really go for research that is able to bring usable products, what we call product development. So we've got a Department of Research and Product Development, which intends to solve many big problems. We intend to make things that are able to be usable by Botswana. We've already got a project that is able to extract from morula. We are able to extract the pulp, to use even the oils from the cover of it, and even the inside moco that to be able to take some protein, some usable oils in there. These are able to make soaps and a whole lot of products. So we want to use even our native knowledge, being here to assist and be able to have Botswana as one of the leaders in medical research, obviously as a passion that we have. There is indigenous knowledge. Believe you me, Nametsu, there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies that are visiting our traditional healers, wanting to know the things that they are using, that they've seen. Bomonepene and many other usual remedies that we know are native. They've been seen. I was involved in some study with University and Seskir, University of Botswana, that we saw that many of these things are able to treat STIs, sexual transmitted infections, very effective like the medication that we have. What is lacking now is to know the active ingredient that is there and the amount that would not be able to affect somebody to have excessive side effects in the body. So we have a whole field of material that we are able to protect as a native knowledge and also to be able to use, because the pharmaceutical companies, they come, get the secret of what you are doing, they go to study it, then they patent it. Suddenly now it's a drug that's supposed to have started in Botswana, but it's coming from India, from Canada, but it is something that we are very passionate about, and it would put us on the world map, on the international map. So in effect then, Nametsu, we aspire to be a player at the forefront of research. As an African country, that now becomes a health hub for not just medical treatment, not just medical education, but also research and innovation, including our indigenous knowledge. It's a wealth that we have here as a country.
So for our viewer watching at home right now, what should they understand about what it takes and what to expect when pursuing a career in medicine and having such a career in the 21st century?
Medical profession is a selfless labor of love, that anyone who comes to practice or wants to get into this field needs to have hit their chest that this is my passion, this is what I want. And because many are the time that you will be waking 3 a.m., somebody's life will be in your hand. You could have the comfort of lying at home, sleeping nicely, or watching television. But those are not the luxuries that a health professional has. It is a calling. It's more of a calling than simply looking for a job.
Welcome back to the show as we now pick up our conversation on personal financial management with Bona Life CEO Regina Sikale-Selevaka from last week, which focused on the mindset and practices that land people in debt.
If you're allocating your money on meals out, wining and dining, those are perishable items. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but they're just there to feed your ego and to create a lifestyle that feels good.
Tonight we will look at the practical steps one can take to dig themselves out from under the weight of indebtedness and ask, what is the biggest barrier people encounter when looking to be more financially responsible and exercise the discipline necessary to get out of debt?
It's peer pressure. And that's why I said that a lot of us are doing what is acceptable within society. A lot of us are doing what has always been done. a lot of us are doing what we see being done. That's peer pressure. That's just peer pressure and nothing else. So you become very worried that if I'm driving this beautiful car and then the next thing I'm seen to have downgraded, but you know? And at the end of the day, you need to remember that you're not taking these people to the grave. You're going to go to the grave alone. And this life you are living alone. And be able to get out of that feeling of what are people going to say? How is so-and-so going to react to this? And start living for yourself. I think there's a lot of peer pressure in Botswana, maybe because it's a small society. So we become very concerned about what's happening next door. We become very concerned about what your colleagues are doing. And that is really what makes it difficult for people to change the things that they need to change.
Many people say that they barely make enough money to get by, let alone put money aside. Is this a valid argument? Can you make too little money to save?
Well, I like to say that the people that don't make a lot of money are actually the ones that spend their money in the right places. And I say this for a reason, because if you go and take a drive now around maybe your low-income areas, you're going to find that a lot of the people that are in those low-income areas who don't have access to financial institutions, who don't have access to financing, they've got their own homes, they've got their own cars, they're educating their children, and they're living a healthy, quality lifestyle. And they're doing all of this from the money that they're making because they don't have access to financial loans. But if you look at the people that are earning more, because they've got access to financial institutions, the house is on a mortgage, the car is on a loan, the TV, the school fees, everything is on debt. And you are even going on holiday on debt. So you are doing things that you really shouldn't be doing and living beyond your means because you've got access to other people's money. So I don't think that it's necessarily true that if a person is struggling, they can't save.